rhetoric when it comes to issues in the Middle East outstrip actually solving issues. And our conversation was focused on how do we actually allow more goods, more services into Gaza? How do we allow businesses to thrive? How can we get construction moving? How can we put people to work in Gaza? The Palestinian Authority is already doing a number of things inside of Gaza, providing employment opportunities, providing assistance to people directly. The United States is already providing assistance, but the status quo that we have is one that is inherently unstable. And I think the Israelis have come to recognize that.
And welcome to the Palestinian Corner from Montreal, ركن فلسطين من Montreal. This is our 12th episode. We began with a Debke dance from the Palestinian El-Funoun Arts troupe, and we're gonna end up with also a wedding dance from the U.S.A, an Arab wedding. You also just heard a clip from President Barak Obama saying that it is the rhetoric of the politicians in the Middle East which generate all these problems in the area among the different fronts and political parties. The rhetoric, which is the exaggeration, the emotions, and the politics of the Middle East. It seems that they like to involve religion, God, anger, and their politics, which is not really helping that much for generations and generations. They bring to a political question, which is really a legal question of occupations and occupying someone's home and land. They bring religions and they bring emotions and history. We don't want to indulge into religious history. For a long time, the Zionists, they claimed that it's God who gave them the land of Palestine, which is really an old idea among native people, in particular Bedouins. The old, I don't want to say backward people, to say that, this land is being granted to me by God, or this royal or this throne was given to me by God, as like what the Romans used to claim, and the caliphs during the Arabic Islamic era. They also claim that everything comes from God, even to be on a chair, to rule, it's given by God. And also at the same time, we have the other religious people like Muslims who say, well, we inherited. Palestine is our inheritance, which also, again, they claim that Abraham was the first Muslim, and the Jews claim that Abraham was the first Jew, or they say Israel, or Jacob, before he became Israel. And we find ourselves going into history of the Romans, the Babylonians, the Byzantium. There's no end to it. And Palestine, it's illegal. It's in Arabic they say قضية فلسطينية. قضية, which is really a political or a legal case. When you take someone to the court, you say you're making a قضية, or making a legal case against. The question of Palestine is really a legal case. We don't want to go the same style of the rhetoric of Hamas to say our war, it's a holy war. it's not a holy war. Let's be realistic. It's a war. God has nothing to do with this war. And when some Zionists claim that Palestine was given to them by God, it's also God doesn't go distribute real estate to different people until you take this home and kick this one out. That doesn't. I mean, if some prophets in the old days or intellectuals said, this land is for us, was given to us by God, and during that era, maybe it was accepted because people were religious, but in our today's life and logic, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Some security issues, there's no question about it. Not in Israel, not in the Palestinian territories, they are all over the world. And you can't go penalize civilians for that. As a government, you do your best to control these issues. But definitely you can't put cross points and checkpoints and send your jets and send your armies, or in the case of Hamas, send your rockets. Smuggling, having tunnels. I mean, it is not going to solve the problem. And God is not going to get involved with this. It's us as human beings. And this is really what President Obama is saying. It's saying,
create a different framework so that people in Gaza can thrive and succeed, so that extremists are isolated as opposed to having an excuse for engaging in violent activities. But also, how do we do it in a way that Israel's legitimate security concerns are met? We, and I think President Abbas agrees with this, recognize that Israel should not have missiles flying out of Gaza into its territories. So there should be a means by which we are able to stop the flow of arms that could endanger Israel's security. At the same time, we're doing so in a way that allows the people in Gaza to live out their aspirations and their dreams, both for themselves and their children. But obviously, there is a lot of work that remains to be done so that we can create a two-state solution in the Middle East in which we have an Israel that is secure and fully accepted by its neighbors, and a Palestinian people that have their own state, self-determination, and the ability to chart their own destiny. That Israelis have the right to prevent arms from entering into Gaza that can be used to launch attacks into Israeli territory. But we also think that it is important for us to explore new mechanisms so that we can have goods and services and economic development and the ability of people to start their own businesses and to grow the economy and provide opportunity within Gaza. And so we are going to be working hand in hand to make sure that we come up with a better approach and urge Israel to work with all parties involved, Egypt, the Palestinian Authority, and the international community, to find a resolution to this issue. With Israelis and the Palestinian Authority coming together, making clear that a peaceful, nonviolent solution that recognizes both the security needs of Israel as well as the legitimate aspirations of Palestinians is the right way to go, can yield real both sides progress. Have to create an environment, a climate that is going to be conducive to an actual breakthrough. And that means, on the Israeli side, curbing settlement activity and recognizing some of the progress that has been made by the Palestinian Authority when it comes to issues like security. It means on the Palestinian side, and I was very frank with President Abbas, that we have to continue to make more progress on both security as well as incitement issues. And if we can, over the next several months, try to lift up what are the honest and legitimate concerns of both sides, and if both Palestinians and Israelis can recognize that they have a common interest in moving off of what has been this dead end, then I believe that potentially we can make significant progress before the end of the year. So I just want to let President Abbas know that I said when I took office, this was an issue that I cared deeply about, and I was willing to spend a lot of time and energy and political capital on. That commitment has not wavered, and I think the American people want to see a resolution of this issue that is equitable. We will continue to work side by side with you, as well as the Israelis, to resolve this in a way that is good for the children and future generations, both in Israel and in a future Palestine. So thank you very much.